Hey folks, John Henning here with the woodworkingpodcast.com. That's woodworkingpodcast.com. Really appreciate your time and you listening in. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Appreciate that. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about how to sell more woodworking. So there's a lot that goes into this. Now, I talk to a lot of folks in woodworking, and what happens is folks ask me a lot of questions. They say, John, how do you sell so much woodworking? And I'll walk them through some of the, pieces of what I do. And then they'll say, well, what kind of finish do you use? How much sanding do you use? What kind of wood? Where do you get the wood? Do you have this tool? Do you have that tool? And I get it. The idea here is that we all, as woodworkers, we like the technical aspect of what we do. I believe that we like to work with our hands. We like to finish a project. We like to make something that's nice, that other people enjoy. And we believe that the reason that our products sell is because of how they look and how good the craftsmanship is and all of that. And while that is a component that has to be there, that's kind of a minimum standard, right? You have to put out a good product at a fair price, and you've got to take pride in your work, good craftsmanship. Like, that's a minimum standard. We have to agree on that, because if you put out a crappy product at a high price and you don't take any pride in it and it's not good work, who's going to buy it, right? So let's just assume for a minute that all things are equal. If they're not, but let's say that they are, that everybody's putting out good work. Okay, everybody's taking pride in their work, and everybody meaning, all the woodworkers. Everybody's pricing it the right way, all of that stuff. Let's just assume all of that is equal, because in theory, you should be creating a good product, right? But many folks think that that's what sells the product. And unfortunately, it's not. That has to be there, because without that, it won't sell, you see. So it's like owning a car dealership. You kind of have to have cars on the lot to sell cars, right? So you have to have a good product. You have to have fair pricing. You've got to have all of those things as a minimum starting point, okay? Folks will often say to me that good pictures sell the product. No, you've got to have good pictures too, right? That's another thing you have to have. Like, without good pictures, who's going to see it? Unless you're set up somewhere and they can physically see it in person, you're probably marketing online or trying to. And good pictures is something you have to do. And with today's, iPhones and megapixel cameras and all of that, it's actually fairly easy. If you have good lighting, good backdrop, good background, that type of thing, you can take a little video, you can, take some good pictures, and, it's pretty simple, right? So again, those are things everyone should be doing, so it's kind of a minimum standard thing. So why do some woodworkers sell more than others? Well, I think I've narrowed down a few things. Number one, how quickly they respond to customers. Number two, what they do when they respond to that customer. Number three, how they handle the additional responses. Number four, how they funnel that customer through to the goal at the end, right? The goal at the end is to find a customer that wants to buy your product at your price. And, ultimately that's what we're looking for, is to have somebody enjoy the product. You've done all the hard work, you've found the customer, and we hope that one of them buys it. Well, hope isn't a strategy in sales. So I'm going to give you some things today to think about in how to sell more woodworking. And these things really aren't going to have anything at all to do with finish, sanding, wood types, tools, any of that stuff. Okay? So kind of take that technical hat off, take it off. You're going to be tempted to keep going back to it, right? Because I have these conversations regularly with woodworkers every week. Folks will ask me about, what kind of tools do I have and what kind of finish do I use? And you have to use this kind of nail and this kind of screw. And there is a technical component of this, but for this conversation, I need you to put that technical stuff to the side. Now we're going to talk about the selling and marketing and selling. Okay. These are the things that a lot of folks don't like to do. They're not good at it. That's okay. We're going to teach you some things here that are very simple and easy to implement that should help you sell more. Number one, in your Facebook Marketplace ads, if your ads today say, if it's up, it's available, I won't respond to generic inquiries of, is this available? If your ad says that right now, go remove it from your ad. We want them to contact us. I know it's counterintuitive. We know there's a bunch of junk and spam and looky-loos and all of that stuff, but one of the top reasons that you're not selling as much as you want is you don't have enough leads. How do you generate leads? Well, people contact you. One of the ways they can contact you is through Facebook Marketplace. They send a message. It's preloaded with, is this available? So yes, it's a pain in the rear end, right? Nobody likes to wake up and have 10 of those messages in there, and then you reply to them and no one gets back to you. That's going to happen. Okay, it is a necessary evil. And yes, some of them are scams, some of them is spam, some of them are looky-loos that, they're too far away, they didn't look at your ad, they ask a follow-up question about size, which you clearly have in the ad, those types of things, right? They're not real buyers. That's okay. This is a somewhat of a numbers game. You've got to have enough inquiries. You need to receive enough inquiries in order to sell a product. That's going to be X plus Y equals Z type scenario. X is how many inquiries you get. Y is how you respond to them and how you work them through that funnel. And Z is the ultimate number of people that buy your product. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips, a couple of things. Number one is remove if this is up, it's available scenario. First off, we don't want them to think it's available all the time. We want them to believe that there's a scenario where they might be interested and someone else is interested too. And by putting that in there, if the ad is up, it's available, well, they just think it's available all the time. So they're less likely to actually respond, even if they were going to. And second piece of that is you're telling them not to inquire, which seems weird, but it's actually silly to say that because you actually want people to inquire. So think about this. You're a retail business. You're on Main Street. You're running a restaurant. The sign on the door when you walk up, when a customer walks up, says, if you don't know what you want, don't enter. Keep out if you aren't sure what you want to eat right now. If there's a sign on the door that says that, they're going to look at you like you have 3 eyeballs. Okay? Well, that's basically what you're doing on Facebook Marketplace when you say, if the ad is up, it's available, don't contact me with, is it available? I won't reply. That's the weirdest thing from a buyer standpoint, that a seller would put that in there. Okay? It sets the wrong tone, right? It almost makes you seem standoffish, snobby, pain to deal with. Why wouldn't you want to talk to me as a consumer, as a customer? Okay? And then the second piece of it is obviously having that in there is going to reduce the number of people that inquire. So even if they were interested, if they see that, they may not inquire. Some people legitimately want to know, is it still available? Because as a seller, you think that everyone takes down their ad when they sell it. But in reality, and this has happened to me many, many times, I'll inquire about something on Facebook. You used to be able to see when it was posted, and maybe on the computer you can, but I'm on Facebook Marketplace a lot on my phone. And on the phone, you can't see when someone posted the ad. So I could be responding to an ad that's 2 months old, and you have no idea how many times I send a message. Now I do customize mine. I say, hey, I'm really interested in this. I'd like to stop by tomorrow to pick it up. Is it still available? Instead of just the generic one. You have no idea how many times people won't even reply, sellers, and they'll just mark it as sold because they sold it weeks ago. So think about it from a buyer's perspective. You don't know if it's still available. You don't know how old that ad is. And as a seller, you think that you're going to take it down instantly as soon as someone buys it. But what if you go to a craft show, sell that product, and it's a week until you actually take it off of Facebook Marketplace? Well, you didn't take it down and it was up, so it should be available. Okay, so just take that out. Trust me, you'll get more inquiries, and inquiries are not a bad thing. Now, how do you convert those inquiries into buyers? I'm going to share with you one of the most powerful tactics you can use in selling woodworking. And that's actually very simple. Ask a question. Whatever they send you, it doesn't matter. Answer their question, whatever it is. What's the dimensions? Doesn't matter if it's already in the ad. Just put the dimensions in. Hey there. Hit enter. Never put your answer in the first line. Always start with hello or good morning or good afternoon. Hello, hey there. And then enter down. So they have to open the message to actually read your reply. That's what we want. We're talking about getting them to engage. This is all about engagement, building trust, getting them to like you. People that like you are more likely to buy from you. So get them to open the message and be very polite. Reply, hey there. Yes, it's still available. The dimensions are, and then ask a question. My most common question is, when were you thinking about possibly picking up in Gilbertsville? And that does a couple of things. Kind of sets them at ease that I'm not trying to hard sell them, makes them know that it is really available and that I'm ready to schedule a time for them to come pick it up. It also sets the tone. I'm not asking them, are you interested? It sets the tone of the conversation. I'm assuming they're interested because they inquired. Why wouldn't I assume that? If you're not interested, why would you inquire? It also turns them into a buyer. I'm treating them as a buyer instead of a potential buyer. In their mind, I'm kind of converting them a little bit into a buyer mentality. Oh, it's not whether or not I want to buy it, it's when do I want to come pick it up. And I use the word possibly specifically. When are you thinking about possibly picking up in Gilbertsville, name of my town? It also lets them know that it's in Gilbertsville, because I don't know if you know this or not. A few months ago, Facebook started, without your knowledge, showing your ads to people outside of your market area, even as a buyer. Even if you set your radius to 10 miles, Facebook is still going to show you suggested items outside of your target area. You don't see that as a buyer because you're scrolling, but that's actually what happens. And the whole idea is Facebook wants more engagement. They want people on there more. So if somebody's searching for a planter and they only can see what's available in 10 miles and there's only 8 people selling them, once they cycle through those ads, they're going to jump off a marketplace. Well, Facebook doesn't want that. They want them on there so they can see the paid ads. Those sponsored ads are people paying them for their placement, right? And so Facebook wants to keep them there. How do I keep them there? Show them more stuff. How do I show them more stuff? Well, we're going to make suggestions outside of your target area. So just remember that from a buyer's perspective. So by putting, when were you thinking about possibly picking up in Gilbertsville, I'm asking them a question, setting them at ease, letting them know that I'm treating them as a buyer, I'm assuming they're interested, and I'm letting them know where it is. Surprisingly, I have people drive from an hour or more away to buy my products. I'm in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania, an hour and a half from New Jersey. Philadelphia is an hour away. York, Pennsylvania, Reading, Allentown. I even had somebody come from Brooklyn a couple of weeks ago to pick up a $250 table because they just can't get it, and they can't get it at that price. Great price for me, also a great price for them. Now, I'm not targeting Brooklyn, but if somebody wants to jump in their car and drive down, sure, I'll meet you. I take a deposit, so I know they're coming, right? I'm not building it without a deposit. But anyway, the idea here is to get more leads and then convert more leads into buyers. And you do that through engagement. Ask them a series of questions. When they say, I need to think about it, or I need to talk with my spouse, or something like that, say, if they haven't asked about it, say, okay, great. Did you take a look at the dimensions of the product in the ad? Are you nearby? I mean, view their profile and you'll know if they are, but that's irrelevant. Are you nearby? How interested are you? Okay, let me know. By chance, did you take a look at the dimensions in the ad? Or if you offer different finishes, would you like to see the different finish options? Always ask another question until they stop responding. Every time they answer, ask another question. Every time they ask a question, answer their question. And in the same message below your answer, ask them another question. And just keep asking simple questions. It's the back and forth. Back and forth is what builds the relationship. They actually trust you more because you're interacting with them. Now, one of the challenges is for some of you is that you work a job or you can't get back to them quickly. The longer it takes you to get back to them between each interaction, the less likely they are to buy. It's a known fact that time kills deals. So the longer it goes back and forth, the longer in between that it goes back and forth, the less likely they are to buy. If you keep them engaged, they're more likely to buy, especially if you can get back to them in a very short period of time. I try and get to if I'm not doing something else, I'm in Messenger. Just it's open on my phone, and I see when something pops up, I touch it. I use the voice thing. It sent I can talk to it, sends it to them, and you can see if they're active or not, and then they get back to you. And you do that over and over and over again, leading them through the funnel. So what do you do when you ask, when were you thinking about possibly picking up in Gilbertsville? And they say tomorrow, or are you available today? So here's another tip that you can use. You want them to think that you're busy, and many of you are. For me, I have the flexibility of my job of being able to do woodworking during the day and my job in the evening, or I can do my job during the day and woodworking in the evening, whatever. I kind of run my own schedule with my W-2 job. So I have that flexibility, but many of you don't. I work from home, and I've been working from home since 2006. So for me, it's a little bit different, but I understand you may not be able to do that. So you might be busy. If you have the table built, for sure, by all means, meet them as soon as possible. You want to meet a buyer, though, so we'll talk about that in a minute. It's not necessary to meet someone to take a look at it. Okay, if they're still shopping, they need to shop virtually. Only meet with buyers, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And the way you meet with buyers is by having more lead flow. When you control that, you will close more deals. You will sell more because you have more leads, because you're controlling when and what and how everything's happening. So if the customer says, I'd like to pick it up tomorrow, don't reply instantly. Wait a few minutes and reply back with something along the lines of, okay, great, let me check the production schedule to see when it would be available. And that phrasing is important. Okay, great, let me go check the production schedule to see when it would be available. What you're doing there is you're setting the stage for getting them to realize that it's not just sitting there made. It's something you're going to build for them specifically, and this is the only way I do it. I don't have inventory. It's a rare instance where I have an item sitting there and it's ready for pickup today. And even if it was ready for pickup today, I probably wouldn't schedule it with them for today. I would still tell them this coming weekend. That's a different scenario here for selling more. But the fear of missing out, urgency, lack of inventory, I'm so busy, that kind of thing, it creates an urgency on their part. Even delaying them, getting them to wait a week or two will actually lock them in faster than if it were available today. Many times if it's available today, spur of the moment, really quick, let me get it. They don't show, you're not happy, and you don't sell anything. So try this. Okay, great. Let me go check the production schedule to see when it would be available. I'll get back to you within the hour. And then you wait, and you don't reply right away. Set a timer on your phone, 45 minutes. In 45 minutes, you go back and say something along the lines of, I just checked the production schedule, and it looks like right now we are accepting deposits for orders to be picked up about 2 to 3 weeks from now. If you'd like the deposit info to place an order, let me know. Thank you. And that's it. You're done. Okay, I just checked the production schedule, and it looks like right now we are accepting deposits for orders to be picked up in about 2 to 3 weeks. If that works for you and you'd like the deposit info, let me know. Thank you. So what you're doing there is you're letting them know definitively that it's not sitting there just waiting for them. You're letting them know you're building it specifically for them. You're letting them know that other people are putting deposits in because the ones that are getting picked up today, deposits were put down last week or the week before. Now that doesn't mean when they do the deposit, you can't build it tomorrow and then message them and say, hey, I know I told you 2 weeks, but I had some free time yesterday morning and I was able to knock this out. Someone else moved their pickup and I had an open slot and I got yours done sooner, they will come and get it sooner. Okay? But give yourself a window. Build as if you're busy already. Even if you don't have any orders today right now, act as if you do. Use the 2 to 3 weeks. It creates a comfortable, you're not trying to get them to come right now, today, tomorrow, pick it up right away, but it also allows you to collect a deposit. Now the question comes up, how much of a deposit do you collect? I used to collect a very small amount, but believe it or not, many people are afraid of that because they think it's a scam. $10, $20, they'll think it's a scam. I tell them 50%. I take a 50% deposit via Venmo, Zelle, or PayPal. I give them multiple options. If they don't want to use electronic, that's fine. I let them know when I'm meeting my next customer batch, which is typically this coming weekend at 1 o'clock on Sunday. I meet everybody at the same time at a local convenience store parking lot for their pickups. You can bring cash and give me a deposit then, and in 2 to 3 weeks from then, I can meet you there and give you your item. You can pay the balance in cash. So many times, like I have no idea how many times, maybe 20 times a year they want to meet and give me cash. All the other times it's a deposit via mostly Venmo. That's the number one that I see most people choose. Venmo, Zelle, and PayPal are the three that I choose. They're the most secure. Venmo and PayPal are the same company. PayPal owns both. And Zelle is typically done through your actual bank. It's rare you're going to set up a separate Zelle account. It's almost always set up through your actual bank. So you might actually even have it right now and don't even realize it. That's what happened to me. I didn't even know we had it in our bank, Key Bank. It's already set up in there. I just had to turn it on. It was quick. So Zelle, PayPal, and Venmo, those are all easy ones to set up. As long as you don't give your password out to anybody, there's no problems, right? Everybody's always worried about that stuff. And I don't use electronic because there's too many scammers. Don't give your password to anybody. Don't click on a link and give them your password, because that's how they hack you. You click on a link, you enter your password, you just gave it to them. Don't ever do that. Go to paypal.com. It's easy. Anyway, offer the 50% deposit. They will do it. Some people will say no. Some people say, oh, I didn't understand. Okay, no, I'm not interested. That's okay, because we have more leads. We have more potential buyers. It's okay if some of the people say no. You're not going to sell 100% of the people. But if you have enough lead flow, you're controlling that whole process. I assure you, by doing it this way, you will sell more. And everyone will give you a deposit that's going to pick up. Do you know how many no-shows I have? Almost zero. I have a few reschedules. And because of my limited space, it's a little difficult sometimes. I only have 14 by 17 in my space, in my shop. And I'll do 75,000 or so in dollars, right, with projects this year. So maybe 100, hopefully, right? 100,000, that'd be great. But if somebody reschedules a week later, I'm like, ooh, boy, that's going to be tough. I try and get them to do it instead of Sunday, I'll try and get them to do it Monday. So I usually do pickups Sunday at 1 o'clock and Monday at 6:30. Those are my two options for customer pickups. I meet them at a local store because it creates an event environment, which I highly recommend. It also eliminates no-shows if you're not going to take deposits, which I don't recommend you do items like this without deposits, but some of you still will. It will reduce the amount of wasted time that you have, because you're going to have people that don't show up if you don't have deposits, and other people are going to show up, and that's okay, right? Because it's the same amount of time for pickup, whether you're meeting, 5 customers or 10 customers. And another thing it does by meeting them all at one time is it creates a much more comfortable environment. They feel like they're not the only one buying from you. So they feel more comfortable. They're not just meeting a stranger. There's other customers there, especially if you get a lot of women that come and pick up, right? Which I do. They'll come on their own. They always feel more comfortable, and it is the truth when I tell them I have multiple customers coming at the same time. So what do you do when you say Sunday at 1 and they say, oh, can you do 2? The answer is no. No, I can't do 2 o'clock. Sorry, 1 o'clock's the only time. I can do 6:30 on Monday if that works better for you. But I can't do 2. I have a family event that I've got to leave at like 1:30 and then, get to. Now show up 30 minutes early, because some of them are going to be there. If you have 10 people coming, some of them are going to be there early. You don't want to show up right at 1 o'clock if that's your appointed time. Show up at 12:30 and get ready. They're all going to start showing up over the next 30 to 45 minutes. Even though you tell them you're meeting them somewhere, at a fire hall, a convenience store, police station, whatever it is, doesn't matter. They think they're going to come early and show up at your house and be able to get their item early because they want to do it on their schedule. No matter how many times I tell them, they'll get there and be like, oh, now I understand. You see the light bulb go on when they pull in. Oh, yeah, okay, this isn't your house. I'll be there 30 minutes early and people will already be there because they were thinking they were just going to show up at the address and the GPS and it was going to be my house and they would show up on their schedule. I'll get a text, a message, they'll say, we're here. And it's like, for a 1 o'clock appointment, it's like 12:02. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there in about 30 to 40 minutes. See, I have the leads. I have the lead flow because I'm good at marketing. I've got a bunch of ads out there. Make sure you listen to my podcast on how to dominate marketplace. How to dominate marketplace is a great resource on how to get more leads. Okay. So converting them is what we're talking about right now. So you funnel them all into that by asking questions, keep asking questions, and you'll learn which questions get better responses. Try not to be pushy. This isn't about selling anything. This is just about asking questions. And you'll be surprised how many people will be like, yep, send me the deposit info. You'd be like, what? Yes, they will. There's a ton of people that will give you a deposit. I don't even know the last time that I've done an order with a brand new customer without a deposit. It's extremely rare that I do that. 99 out of 100 orders or even more, I take a deposit on a standard item, whether it's a plant or a table, whatever it is that I'm building for them. I do everything as ordered and I take deposits and that funnels them in. You'll get objections. I'm worried about security. I want it tomorrow. Oh, I thought it was available right now. That's okay. If you have enough lead flow, that's not an issue. So keep generating more leads by getting more inquiries, by putting more ads out there. And don't discount sites like Craigslist too. I know people balk at that. I get a ton of business from Craigslist, and I also build my list. Every customer gives me their email address or their cell phone number. When I'm on Marketplace, I ask them when they place their order, can you please text me at this number because I'm going to lose you in Messenger because I get hundreds of inquiries every week, and a minute or two later they're going to text you. Put their name in your phone. Now you have them in your phone. Write down their phone number, put it into a spreadsheet. Now you have a list of customer phone numbers. There's a texting service. You can pay a penny a text and text all of your customers and say, hey, I'm now selling this, right? Their email address. Collect their email address to send them a guide, a how to care for the product guide. If you sell planters, how to care for vegetables. If you sell cutting boards, there's recipes you can send them. Collect their email address. Build that list. Right? It isn't just about Marketplace. You got to build the list, ask for referrals, use other websites. There's a ton of them out there. Nextdoor, Facebook. You could sell on Etsy. I don't personally sell on Etsy, but you can sell on Craigslist. There's a ton of options out there. Marketplace is my number one, right? I sell 80% of everything on Marketplace, and then I sell some via repeat customers and referrals, and some from all of the other sites. Maybe 75% from Marketplace, 10-15% from referrals, and 10-15% from repeat customers, right? It varies. So walk them through a Q&A. Don't think of it as them bothering you or you getting frustrated or them taking your time. Think of it as that's how you sell more. So get more inquiries. Listen to that podcast about how to dominate Marketplace. It's a great listen, and you'll learn a lot there. There's 2 or 3 things you can do right now to get more leads from Marketplace. And then once you have more leads, now you know how to walk them through. Have your questions and your answers. If you see yourself typing the same thing over and over on your phone or your computer, have a notepad, a virtual notepad on your computer or your phone with all of your answers in it. Just copy and paste. Copy and paste. Then it's not a big deal, right? You want them to inquire. So I hope you learned a few things about that. The idea here was to lead folks through a funnel to get them to the buying mindset. That's the idea. By asking questions, right? So hope you learned a few things there and you apply them. Knowing it is just half of it. The other half is actually applying it to your business. Test it out. If you're not selling a ton right now, what do you have to lose? What's the worst that could happen? You just don't sell more? You're already not selling more, right? Because that's why you're listening. You want to sell more. So try it. It doesn't cost anything. Try it out. See if it works. Even if it just sells one more item a month, it worked, right? So try it out. And this is a good one to re-listen to, go back through and listen again, take some notes, because those questions, I've fine-tuned those questions over the past 4 to 5 years and become very scientific about it. I've tested so many different variations. I'm telling you, you're welcome to use the exact wording that I've used. It works. People will reply. Some people reply and say no, but many more will reply and keep progressing through that Q&A, which is really the sales process. Okay? Because that's what would happen in a normal business. You'd end up learning about what they're looking for and showing them what they're looking for, right? By asking questions. So test it out, see if it works. Shoot me an email. Let me know if it works for you, or if it doesn't work for you. Send me an email. Let me know. My email is john@woodworkingpodcast.com. That's JOHN at woodworkingpodcast.com. Feel free to email me with any questions, comments, gripes, complaints, pictures of your work. I love to see other woodworkers work. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, please let me know what you tried, where you tried it, so I can go look at it. Happy to review it for you and give you some feedback and hopefully help you out. Thank you so much, folks. My name's John Henning from woodworkingpodcast.com. You can listen to all of our episodes at woodworkingpodcast.com. Thank you so much.